The massive space station hung in the void between two dying stars, its metal hull gleaming under the red light. Inside, creatures from across the galaxy filled the great hall. Some walked on four legs, others floated in bubbles of methane gas. A few looked almost like giant insects with too many eyes. Ambassador Veltar stepped forward on his 6 legs. His blue skin shimmered as he spoke. The translation devices around the room turned his clicks and whistles into words every species could understand. "Fellow beings of the Galactic Council," he began, "we face a mystery that has puzzled us for over 50 years. The hall grew quiet. Even the gas breathers stopped their bubbling sounds. Veltar touched a control pad. A holographic image appeared in the center of the room. It showed a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. "This is Earth," he said, "home to creatures called humans. They live in the Sol system, exactly 26,000 light-years from our current position." Commander Thexel, a tall gray being with no visible eyes, spoke up. "What makes this planet special? It looks like any other water world." "That is exactly the problem," Veltar replied. "This planet appears to have no defenses at all." Murmurs filled the hall. Several creatures leaned forward in their seats. "No orbital weapons?" asked General Crixon, whose rock-like body scraped against his chair. "None that we can detect." "Shield generators?" "Nothing." "Fleet patrols?" "They barely have space travel. Most of their ships use chemical fuel." The murmurs grew louder. This was impossible. Every civilized world had some form of defense. Pirates, raiders, and hostile empires roamed the galaxy constantly. A defenseless planet should have been conquered within days of its discovery. Dr. Zephyra floated closer to the hologram. Her tentacles danced around her translucent body as she studied the image. As the Council's top expert on alien life, she had seen thousands of species across the galaxy. "Tell me about these humans," she said. Veltar touched his controls again. The hologram changed to show various humans going about their daily lives. They looked fragile compared to most galactic species. They had no natural armor, no claws, no venomous stings. "They are bipedal mammals," Veltar explained. "They breathe oxygen and water makes up most of their bodies. Their technology is primitive. They split atoms for energy and use metal projectiles as weapons." "Sounds weak," Commander Thexel commented. "Yet here is what troubles us," Veltar continued. He touched the controls once more. A long list of names appeared in the air. "These are all the empires, kingdoms, and federations that have scouted the Earth system in the past 50 years. The list was enormous. Nearly every major power in the galaxy was represented. "And how many have attempted conquest?" Dr. Zephyra asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. "None." The word echoed in the silent hall. "None." General Crixon's voice scraped like grinding stone. "That cannot be right." "I have reviewed every report personally," Veltar said. "The Catherian Empire sent 3 separate scouting missions. Each time, they withdrew and marked Earth as low priority. The Vortanian War Fleet conducted a full system survey. Their official report cited resource allocation concerns. The hegemony of Tsar spent 2 years studying human military capabilities. They concluded that other targets offered better strategic value. Commander Thexel made a sound like metal scraping. "What do the scouts actually report?" "That is the mystery. The official reports are always vague. But I have spoken privately with several mission commanders. They refuse to discuss their findings in detail. When pressed, they change the subject or claim classified information protocols." Dr. Zephyra's tentacles curled with interest. "Fear? Perhaps. Or maybe they discovered something that changed their minds about attacking." The hall erupted in discussion. Dozens of languages mixed together as species debated among themselves. The translation devices struggled to keep up with the overlapping conversations. General Crixon pounded his stone fist on his chair for silence. This is ridiculous. One primitive planet cannot intimidate the entire galaxy. There must be hidden defenses we have not detected. We considered that possibility, Veltar replied. We have used our most advanced sensors, deep space telescopes, quantum scanners, gravitational wave detectors. If Earth has hidden weapons, they are beyond our ability to find them. Then what do you propose? Dr. Zephyra asked. A proper investigation. We need to send our own team to study this planet and its inhabitants. We must discover what every other empire has learned but refused to share. Commander Thexel nodded. I agree. But who do we send? This mission requires someone skilled in reconnaissance and first contact protocols. Captain Mordek, Veltar said immediately. His stealth ship can observe without being detected. His crew has experience with primitive species. The Council voted quickly. Within hours, they had approved the mission and assigned funding. Captain Mordek would take his ship, the Silent Observer, to Earth's solar system. His orders were simple. Discover why no one attacks the apparently defenseless blue planet. As the council session ended and the various species returned to their ships, none of them noticed the small recording device attached to the underside of Dr. Zephyra's chair. The device had captured every word of their discussion. 3 days later, in a secure communication chamber on the edge of the galaxy, an encrypted message was transmitted toward the Sol system. The message was brief and used an obscure human, language that most aliens had never bothered to learn. Package incoming. Standard observation protocol. Play dumb. The message was signed with a simple marking that would mean nothing to most galactic species. To human eyes, it looked like the Korean characters for friend watching. Captain Mordek prepared his ship for the long journey to Earth, confident that he was about to solve one of the galaxy's greatest mysteries. He had no idea that the mystery was already aware of his coming. Deep in space, the Silent Observer engaged its faster-than-light engines and disappeared into hyperspace, heading for a small blue planet that had somehow convinced the entire galaxy to leave it alone. The hunt was about to begin, but the question remained, who was hunting whom? Captain Mordek stood on the bridge of his ship, watching Earth grow larger on the main screen. After 2 weeks of travel, the Silent Observer had finally reached the Sol system. The small blue planet looked exactly as it had in the Council's files, peaceful, undefended, and completely unaware of their presence. Run a full sensor sweep, Mordek ordered. I want to know about every piece of metal larger than a coin in this system. His science officer, a thin creature named Zixal, worked at the scanner controls. Captain, I am detecting several orbital stations around the planet. They appear to be research facilities. Any weapons? None that I can identify. The stations seem designed for scientific work and communications. Mordek nodded. This matched what other scout missions had reported. Earth's orbital facilities were primitive and purely civilian, no threat to a proper warship. What about their ground-based military? He asked. Lieutenant Vexar, the ship's tactical officer, pulled up his analysis. Scattered across the planet in small groups. They use simple chemical weapons and metal vehicles. Some of their weapons use controlled explosions, but nothing that could reach us in orbit. Space-based defenses? A few small satellites that appear to watch for incoming meteors. Nothing designed for warfare. For the next 3 days, the Silent Observer studied Earth from a safe distance. They monitored human communications, watching television broadcasts and internet traffic. They analyzed military exercises and government meetings. Everything they learned confirmed Earth's weakness. The humans seemed completely unprepared for contact with alien species. Their entertainment showed wild fantasies about space wars and alien invasions, but their governments had no real plans for such events. They were clearly a species that had never encountered anything beyond their own planet. "Sir," Zixal reported on the fourth day, "I believe we have learned enough to attempt controlled first contact." Mordek considered this. The Council had not specifically authorized contact, but sometimes field commanders had to make difficult decisions. "What do you recommend?" "There is a human space station orbiting their planet, only 3 humans aboard. We could reveal ourselves to them slowly, gauge their reaction. If they panic, we withdraw. If they seem reasonable, we establish basic communication." "Very well. Move us closer to their station, but keep the stealth fields active. We will observe first, then decide." The silent observer drifted toward the International Space Station. Through their advanced telescopes, they could see the humans inside going about their daily work. 2 men and 1 woman, all wearing matching blue uniforms. "The female is working outside the station," Vexar reported. "She appears to be performing maintenance on some kind of communications equipment." Captain Mordek studied the human through the telescope. She was small and fragile-looking like all her species. She moved carefully in her bulky spacesuit, using simple tools to repair a damaged panel. "Lower our stealth field gradually," he ordered. "Let her see us, but do not make any threatening moves." The alien ship slowly faded into visibility about 2 kilometers from the space station. Its dark hull caught the sunlight, becoming a clear dot against the stars. The human woman spotted them almost immediately. What happened next shocked every alien on the bridge. Instead of screaming or panicking, the woman calmly finished her repair work. She then activated her suit's communication system and spoke to her colleagues inside the station. The aliens could not understand her language yet, but her tone was calm and businesslike. "She is not afraid," Zixal observed with surprise. "Perhaps she does not understand what she is seeing," Vexar suggested. But the human's next actions proved them wrong. She activated the station's external display system and began projecting mathematical sequences toward their ship. Simple equations at first, then more complex formulas. She was trying to establish communication using universal mathematical principles. "Incredible," Mordek muttered. "She is attempting first contact protocols." The human woman continued her efforts for nearly an hour, projecting different mathematical concepts and scientific diagrams. When the aliens finally responded with their own mathematical sequences, she actually moved closer to their ship. Through the translation computers, they began to establish basic communication. The woman identified herself as Commander Jiwon Park, a Korean astronaut working for something called the International Space Station program. But it was what she said next that disturbed the aliens most. "Are you here peacefully?" she asked through the translation system. The question itself was reasonable, but the way she asked it suggested she had been prepared for this moment. She spoke as if meeting alien visitors was something she had trained, for when the aliens confirmed their peaceful intentions, Jiwon seemed genuinely relieved. "Good," she said. The other response would have been unfortunate for everyone involved. Captain Mordek felt his skin grow cold. "Other response?" Jiwon paused, as if realizing she had said too much. "I should probably let the proper authorities handle this conversation, but since you're here peacefully, I can authorize basic cultural exchange protocols." "Protocols," Zixal whispered. "They have protocols for this?" Over the next several hours, Jiwon established contact with various Earth governments. The aliens listened in amazement as she spoke casually about first contact procedures and extraterrestrial communication guidelines. She mentioned something called the UN Committee on Peaceful Uses of Outer Space and referenced training materials for non-terrestrial encounters. It became clear that Earth's governments had been planning for alien contact for decades. They had procedures, committees, and trained personnel ready to handle the situation. This was not a species caught off guard by the existence of alien life. "Captain," Vexar said quietly, "if they have been expecting us, why do they appear so defenseless?" Before Mordek could answer, Jiwon's voice came through the speakers again. I've been authorized to ask, is this a standard diplomatic survey, or should we implement enhanced security protocols? The way she said enhanced security protocols made every alien on the bridge uncomfortable. There was something in her tone that suggested Earth had other options beyond simple diplomacy. We are conducting peaceful observations only, Captain Mordek replied. Excellent. In that case, Dr. Minho Kim from our Extraterrestrial Contact Division will be joining our conversation tomorrow. He's very excited to meet you. It's been a while since we've had visitors to this system. The aliens exchanged glances. A while since they had visitors? How many other species had made contact with Earth? As the day ended and the humans settled in for their sleep cycle, Captain Mordek called his senior officers together. Recommendations? He asked. We should withdraw immediately, Vexar said. Something is wrong here. No primitive species should be this prepared for alien contact. I disagree, Zixal replied. This is exactly the kind of information the Council needs. We must continue the investigation. But continue carefully, Mordek decided. Tomorrow we speak with this Dr. Kim. We learn what Earth truly knows about the galaxy and why they seem so confident despite their apparent weakness. None of the aliens slept well that night. They had come to study a primitive, defenseless world. Instead, they had found a species that seemed to have been waiting for them. Outside their ship, Earth continued its slow rotation, looking as peaceful and harmless as ever. But now the aliens began to wonder if that appearance might be the most dangerous deception in the galaxy. Dr. Minho Kim appeared on their communication screen exactly when he had promised. He was a middle-aged human with kind eyes and a warm smile. He spoke perfect galactic standard, which surprised the aliens since Earth was supposedly isolated. From galactic civilization. Welcome to our solar system, he said pleasantly. I apologize for the delay in formal contact. We wanted to make sure you were comfortable before beginning official discussions. Captain Mordek studied the human carefully. Unlike Commander Jiwon, who had seemed like a worker caught off guard, Dr. Kim gave the impression of someone who dealt with alien contact regularly. Dr. Kim, Mordek began, we are curious about your world. Our records show that Earth has had no previous contact with galactic civilization. Minho smiled. Well, that depends on how you define contact. We've been aware of your various civilizations for some time. We prefer to observe before introducing ourselves. Zixal leaned forward. You have been watching us? In a sense. When you reach a certain level of technology, it becomes impossible to hide completely. Radio signals, faster than light engine signatures, quantum communication bursts. The galaxy is actually quite noisy if you know how to listen. The alien crew exchanged uncomfortable glances. Earth was supposed to be primitive. How had they developed the technology to detect galactic communications? Tell us about your world, Lieutenant Vexar requested. What is daily life like on Earth? Minho's expression grew thoughtful. Compared to what? We consider ourselves fairly peaceful these days, much more so than in our past. Your past? Oh yes, we went through some difficult periods. Large-scale wars, weapons of mass destruction, environmental challenges. But we've learned to manage our more aggressive tendencies. The casual way he mentioned wars and weapons of mass destruction made the aliens nervous. Most species considered such things to be signs of extreme barbarism. How large were these wars? Zixal asked carefully. The bigger ones involved most of the planet. Tens of millions of casualties, entire cities destroyed. But that was decades ago. We're much more civilized now. Captain Mordek felt his throat tighten. Tens of millions? That was more casualties than most galactic wars produced across multiple star systems. And these weapons of mass destruction? Vexar asked. Nuclear bombs, mostly. We developed the ability to destroy entire cities with single weapons. At one point, we had enough firepower to make our planet uninhabitable several times over. Minho, spoke about these terrible weapons as if discussing the weather. The aliens were beginning to understand that Earth might not be the peaceful paradise it appeared to be. "But you said you are more civilized now," Mordek said hopefully. "Much more. We haven't had a proper world war in over 70 years. Most of our conflicts now are small regional disputes. We've learned to settle disagreements through economics and diplomacy rather than direct violence." The way he said direct violence suggested that humans still had other forms of violence readily available. "What do your people do for recreation?" Zixal asked, hoping to find evidence of a gentler nature. Minho brightened. "Oh, we have many forms of entertainment. Sports are very popular. We enjoy physical competitions where people try to defeat each other through strength, speed, or strategy." Defeat each other? Well, not literally, although some sports can be quite rough. Boxing, mixed martial arts, full-contact football, and we love stories about conflict and survival. Movies about wars, books about heroes overcoming impossible odds, games where players battle enemies. The aliens were horrified. Even human entertainment focused on violence and conflict. "Surely your children enjoy gentler activities," Vexar asked desperately. "Children love adventure stories too, tales of brave warriors, space battles, monster hunting. They play games where they pretend to fight evil creatures or save the world from destruction." Captain Mordek was beginning to feel sick. Human children were raised on stories of violence and warfare. "Dr. Kim," he said slowly, "you mentioned that Earth is more peaceful now. What changed?" "Experience, mostly. We learned that large-scale wars are inefficient. Too much destruction, too many resources wasted. We found better ways to compete and resolve disputes." "Better ways?" "Economic warfare is much cleaner than physical warfare. Cyber attacks cause less environmental damage than bombing. Diplomatic pressure achieves goals without the mess of actual fighting." The aliens realized with growing horror that humans hadn't become peaceful. They had simply developed more sophisticated forms of conflict. "What about your natural environment?" Zixal asked. "Surely living on such a beautiful world has made your people gentle." Minho laughed. "Beautiful? I suppose Earth has its charm. But it's quite hostile to human life. Extreme weather, natural disasters, dangerous animals, poisonous plants, deadly diseases. Most humans prefer to live in artificial environments where they can control the conditions." "Hostile?" "Well, yes. Hurricanes that destroy entire cities, earthquakes that swallow buildings, volcanoes that bury whole regions in ash, and the wildlife. We have creatures that can kill humans in dozens of different ways. Venomous snakes, predatory cats, disease-carrying, insects, toxic marine life." Captain Mordek was struggling to process this information. What the humans described as a hostile environment sounded like what galactic civilization would classify as a death world. "How do your people survive in such conditions?" he asked weakly. "Adaptation. We've learned to build stronger structures, develop better medical treatments, create defensive strategies for different threats. Most humans go through basic survival training as part of their education." "Survival training? How to find food and water in wilderness conditions, basic first. Aid, self-defense techniques, emergency response procedures. We also maintain emergency supplies in case of natural disasters or social disruption." The pieces were falling into place for the aliens. Earth wasn't a peaceful paradise inhabited by gentle creatures. It was a death world that had forged an incredibly tough and resourceful species. "Dr. Kim," Captain Mordek said carefully, "what would happen if Earth faced a threat from space?" Minho's friendly expression didn't change, but something cold flickered behind his eyes. "That would depend on the nature of the threat. We have contingency plans for various scenarios, of course. Every responsible government prepares for potential challenges." "What kind of contingency plans?" "I'm not authorized to discuss specific defensive capabilities, but I can say that we've learned from our history. The same skills that helped us survive on this difficult world and overcome our internal conflicts would serve us well against external challenges. Before Captain Mordek could ask more questions, another voice joined the conversation. Dr. Kim, are our guests interested in learning about human military history? A new human appeared on the screen. She was a stern-looking woman in a military uniform. Captain, this is Colonel Sumin Lee, our military liaison for extraterrestrial contacts. Colonel Sumin smiled, but it was not a warm expression. I'd be happy to discuss human defensive capabilities, she said. It's always interesting to compare notes with other species. Tell me, what weapon systems do your people typically use for ship-to-ship combat? Colonel Sumin Lee's question hung in the air like a trap waiting to snap shut. Captain Mordek realized that what had seemed like innocent cultural exchange was actually a military intelligence gathering operation. We use standard plasma-based weapons, he answered carefully. Most galactic civilizations have similar technology. Interesting, Sumin replied, making notes on a tablet. Plasma weapons suggest you've solved the energy containment problem. What's your typical engagement? Range? Vexer touched the captain's arm and shook his head slightly. They were giving away too much tactical information. Perhaps we should discuss other topics, Mordek suggested. Of course, Dr. Minho said smoothly. Colonel Lee gets excited about technical discussions. She's working on her dissertation about comparative military technologies across different species. The aliens felt a chill. Humans were studying alien military capabilities as academic subjects. Before they could respond, their ship's alarm system activated. Someone was scanning them with deep penetration sensors. Captain, Zixal reported, we are being scanned by an unknown source. The scans are coming from multiple locations throughout this solar system. On the communication screen, Dr. Minho looked apologetic. I'm sorry about that. Colonel Hyunwoo Choi from our Space Defense Command needs to verify your ship specifications for our records. Space Defense Command? Mordek asked. Our military organization responsible for threats from space. They've been tracking your vessel since you entered our system. The bridge of the silent observer fell deadly quiet. Tracking us, Zixal whispered. A new voice spoke from their communication system. It was calm, professional, and came from a different source than Dr. Kim's signal. Silent observer, this is Colonel Hyunwoo Choi, Earth Space Defense Command. Please respond. Captain Mordek's hands trembled as he activated the communication system. This is Captain Mordek. How do you know our ship's name? Standard procedure. We've been monitoring your vessel for 6 days. Your ship design matches Galactic Council reconnaissance specifications, and your movement patterns indicate a survey mission. The aliens were terrified. They had been detected from the moment they arrived in the system. You have been watching us? Of course. We maintain awareness of all vessels in our space. You're welcome to continue your observations, but please register your presence officially. It helps us coordinate with other research missions. Other research missions? You're the 3rd survey ship we've hosted this year. The Catherian Empire sent a team in March, and the hegemony of Tsar conducted a study in June. All very professional. Operations! Captain Mordek felt the deck spinning beneath his feet. Earth had been allowing alien reconnaissance missions and monitoring them all along. Why did you not contact us immediately upon our arrival? We prefer to let visitors reveal their intentions naturally. It provides better data about galactic attitudes toward Earth. Dr. Yuna Song appeared on their screen next to Colonel Choi. She was an elderly woman with sharp, intelligent eyes. I'm Dr. Song, Director of Interstellar Relations, she said. I've been looking forward to meeting you. It's been fascinating to watch your mission unfold. You have been studying us while we studied you? Mordek asked. Naturally. We maintain detailed files on all galactic civilizations. Your people, for example, are from the Rigel system, technologically advanced but politically cautious. You prefer stealth reconnaissance to direct contact, and your military doctrine emphasizes overwhelming firepower rather than defensive strategies. She knew more about his species than most galactic databases contained. We've been particularly interested in understanding why so many empires send survey missions to Earth but never attempt conquest, Dr. Song continued. It's a pattern we've observed for decades. Lieutenant Vexar found his voice. What do you conclude from this pattern? That you discover something during your surveys that changes your assessment of Earth as a target. We've been trying to determine what that discovery might be. The humans were studying the mystery of their own apparent invincibility. Dr. Song, Captain Mordek said carefully, what would happen if a hostile force did attempt to attack Earth? Her expression didn't change, but something cold entered her eyes. That would be unfortunate. We prefer peaceful solutions to conflicts, but if peace was not possible, then we would respond appropriately. Admiral Jinwoo Nam could provide more specific details about our defensive capabilities. As if summoned by his name, Admiral Nam appeared on the screen. He was a compact man with gray hair and the bearing of someone accustomed to command. Gentlemen, he said pleasantly, I understand you're curious about Earth's military preparedness. We are researchers, not military scouts, Mordek protested. Of course. But research often covers military topics. It's only natural to be curious. Admiral Nam activated a holographic display that showed the Sol system. Dozens of objects appeared throughout the solar system, marked with symbols the aliens didn't recognize. These are our more obvious defensive installations, he said casually. Early warning sensors, communication relays, supply depots. The basic infrastructure needed to maintain awareness of our local space. The aliens counted over 100 marked objects. Earth's solar system was filled with military installations they had never detected. We maintain a policy of proportional response. The Admiral continued. If someone brings 3 ships, we prepare for 3 ships. If they bring 300, we adjust accordingly. How do you adjust? Zixal asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. We have various options available. Mobile platforms that can be repositioned as needed, defensive systems that can be activated when required, and of course our rapid response capabilities. Admiral Nam touched a control, and the display changed. Now it showed the locations of Earth's colonies throughout the solar system, Mars, the asteroid belt, the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, all connected by regular shipping routes and communication networks. Earth isn't just a single planet anymore, he explained. We're a distributed civilization spread across multiple worlds and habitats. Any threat to one location becomes a threat to all locations. And all locations respond together? Mordek asked. Unity of command is essential in military operations. When Earth faces a threat, the entire Sol system responds as one organism. The Admiral's casual mention of system-wide military coordination sent chills through the alien crew. They were not dealing with a single primitive world. They were facing an entire solar system converted into a fortress. I should mention, Admiral Nam continued, that we prefer not to advertise the full extent of our defensive preparations. It tends to make visitors nervous. What would you consider the full extent? Vexar asked weakly. The Admiral smiled. It was not a comforting expression. Let's just say that what you see represents our peacetime defensive posture. We maintain additional capabilities for more serious threats. Dr. Song leaned forward. Admiral Nam raises an important point. We've found that being too obvious about our strength can discourage the kind of peaceful contact we prefer. Most species are more comfortable approaching what appears to be a defenseless world. Captain Mordek finally understood. Earth appeared. Undefended because humans wanted it to appear undefended. They were using their apparent weakness as a tool to study potential enemies. You let us believe you were helpless, he said. We let you draw your own conclusions, Dr. Song corrected. Every species sees what it expects to see. Those looking for easy prey see a defenseless world. Those looking for intelligent life see a civilized society. And what do we appear to be looking for? Admiral Nam's smile grew colder. That's what makes your mission so interesting. We're still determining your true intentions. The aliens were still processing their conversation with Admiral Nam when their sensors detected something massive approaching the inner solar system. At first, they thought it might be another Earth defensive platform coming online. Then they realized it was moving too fast and coming from the wrong direction. "Captain," Zixal reported with growing alarm, "I'm detecting a large asteroid on collision course with Earth. Impact in approximately 18 hours. Captain Mordek studied the readings. The asteroid was enormous, roughly 2 kilometers across, and moving at tremendous speed. If it hit Earth, it would cause global devastation. "How is this possible?" Vexar asked. "Asteroids don't suddenly change course on their own." Before Mordek could answer, their communication system activated. Dr. Minho Kim appeared on the screen, but his casual demeanor had vanished. He looked focused and businesslike. "Captain Mordek, we need to inform you that Earth is implementing emergency protocols. An asteroid has been knocked out of its normal orbit by unknown forces. We're moving to intercept. Do you need assistance?" Mordek asked, though he wasn't sure what help his small ship could provide. "Thank you, but we have the situation under control. However, for your safety, please move to minimum safe distance and observe from there." The aliens watched in fascination as Earth's response began. What they witnessed over the next few hours changed their understanding of humanity forever. Within minutes of the asteroid's detection, every human facility in the solar system came alive. The transformation was stunning. Peaceful research stations suddenly bristled with weapons. Civilian cargo ships revealed hidden military hardware. Mining platforms throughout the asteroid belt repositioned themselves with military precision. Taehyung Park, director of planetary defense, appeared on their screens coordinating the response. He spoke rapidly in various human languages, issuing orders to facilities across the solar system. The aliens' translation computers struggled to keep up. "Mars Defense Grid, activate all platforms. Luna Base, prepare kinetic interceptors. Asteroid mining stations, convert to weapons configuration. All civilian traffic, clear the engagement zone immediately." The aliens watched in amazement as humanity's true nature revealed itself. This wasn't a divided primitive species. This was a coordinated military machine that had been pretending to be harmless. Captain Myung Seo, commander of something called the Mars Defense Fleet, took control of the tactical operation. Her voice was calm and professional as she directed the attack. Target confirmed. Asteroid designated Threat Alpha 7. Mass approximately 8 billion tons. Velocity 42 kilometers per second. Beginning intercept sequence. What happened next defied everything the aliens thought they knew about human technology. Ships emerged from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Not the primitive chemical-powered vessels they had observed, but sleek warships with advanced engines and powerful weapons. The humans had been hiding an entire space navy. The asteroid was still millions of kilometers from Earth when the first wave of interceptors reached it. Instead of trying to deflect or destroy the massive rock, the humans began systematically dismantling it. Precision energy weapons carved the asteroid into manageable chunks. Specialized ships moved in to collect valuable metals and minerals. Within hours, what had been a planet-killing threat became a carefully organized mining operation. "Incredible," Zixal whispered. "They're not just destroying it, they're harvesting it." The efficiency was terrifying. Every piece of the asteroid was cataloged, collected, and transported to processing facilities. Nothing was wasted. The humans had turned a natural disaster into a resource-gathering opportunity. But it was the scale of the operation that truly shocked the aliens. Hundreds of ships participated in the asteroid intercept. Thousands of personnel worked in perfect coordination. The humans had mobilized military resources across their entire solar system in a matter of hours. Captain Myung contacted them as the operation concluded. "Sorry for any alarm our emergency protocols might have caused. We completed the intercept ahead of schedule." "How many ships did you deploy?" Mordek asked. "For this operation, about 300 vessels from various commands. Standard response for a Class 7 threat. Class 7? Medium-sized asteroid, known trajectory, no special characteristics. Routine interception. Routine. The humans considered mobilizing 300 warships to be routine. Captain Seo, Vexar asked carefully, what would you classify as a serious threat? Her expression grew thoughtful. Unknown hostile vessels entering our system without permission would probably qualify as Class 9 or higher. That would trigger our enhanced response protocols. Enhanced protocols? Full system mobilization, activation of all defensive platforms, deployment of our rapid response fleets, the usual preparations for potential combat. Dr. Dong-Yoon Jung, an analyst who had been monitoring the operation, joined their conversation. For statistical reference, he said, today's asteroid intercept used approximately 2.7% of our available defensive resources. We maintain much larger reserves for more serious threats. The aliens felt their world crumbling around them. Earth's undefended appearance was the most sophisticated military deception in galactic history. Dr. Jung, Captain Mordek asked weakly, what percentage of resources would you deploy against a hostile alien fleet? That would depend on the size and capabilities of the fleet. Our response doctrine calls for proportional escalation. We match the threat level with appropriate defensive measures. And if the threat was overwhelming? Dr. Young's expression grew cold. Then we would implement total war protocols. Every human facility, every ship, every weapons system working together for species survival. We've done it before against natural disasters and internal conflicts. External threats would receive the same level of commitment. The communication ended, leaving the aliens alone with their horrifying realization. Captain, Zixal said quietly, I understand now why no empire attacks Earth. Explain. They're not looking at a weak planet protected by primitive defenses. They're looking at an apex predator that's perfected the art of appearing helpless. Lieutenant Vexar nodded slowly. Earth doesn't need to display its strength because any species willing to attack an apparently defenseless world reveals its true nature. The humans can prepare specifically for that kind of enemy. Captain Mordek stared at the peaceful blue planet below them. Somewhere down there, humans were returning to their normal activities as if coordinating a system-wide military. Operation was just another day at the office. We need to report this to the Galactic Council immediately, he said. What will we tell them? Zixal asked. The truth. Earth appears undefended because humanity wants it to appear undefended. They've turned the entire galaxy's assumptions into a weapon against itself. Will the Council believe us? Before Mordek could answer, their long-range sensors detected multiple faster-than-light signatures approaching the Sol system. A lot of them. Captain, Vexar reported with growing horror, I'm detecting a large fleet entering the system. Configuration matches Catherian Empire battle formations. How many ships? Still counting. Over 200 vessels. They're maintaining attack formation and heading directly for Earth. Captain Mordek realized with sick certainty that they were about to witness either the conquest of Earth or the destruction of the Catherian invasion fleet. Given what they had learned about humanity, he was beginning to suspect which outcome was more likely. The Catherian battle fleet emerged from hyperspace like a swarm of angry insects. 300 warships arranged in perfect attack formation, their weapons already charging for combat. Captain Mordek watched in horror as the massive invasion force began its approach to Earth. They have no idea what they're flying into, Zixal whispered. Admiral Velthok, commander of the Catherian fleet, broadcast his demands on all frequencies. His voice echoed with the arrogance of a predator certain of easy victory. Primitive humans of the third planet, you will surrender immediately and submit to the authority of the Catherian Empire. Any resistance will be met with complete destruction. Captain Mordek tried frantically to contact the Catherian fleet on emergency channels. Admiral Velthok, this is Captain Mordek of the Galactic Council reconnaissance mission. You must abort your attack immediately. Earth is not what it appears to be. Captain Mordek? Velthok's image appeared on screen. He was a typical Cytherian warrior covered in natural armor with razor-sharp claws. "What are you doing in this system?" "Conducting surveillance for the Council." "Admiral, you must listen to me. Earth has hidden defenses. Withdraw your fleet now." Velthok's laugh was like grinding metal. "Hidden defenses? Captain, we have been monitoring this system for months. These humans have no orbital weapons, no shield generators, no military spacecraft. They are defenseless. That's what they want you to think. It's a trap. A trap set by creatures who have barely achieved spaceflight? Impossible. Stand aside, Captain. The Cytherian Empire claims this world." The communication ended. Mordek watched helplessly as the invasion fleet continued toward Earth. On the human communication channels, the response was surprisingly calm. Admiral Sungjin Ko appeared on their screens, looking more annoyed than alarmed. "Captain Mordek," he said, "we're receiving some rather rude demands from your Cytherian friends. Are they associated with your mission?" "No. Admiral, they're here. To invade Earth. 300 warships." "I see." Admiral Ko made some notes on a tablet. 300 ships. That puts them at threat classification level 12. We'll need to implement full defensive protocols. Can you stop them? "Captain, we've been preparing for this exact scenario for over 50 years. The Cytherian Empire uses standard attack formations and favors overwhelming firepower over tactical flexibility. We have detailed studies of their combat doctrine." Dr. Yuna Kim, Director of Interstellar Relations, joined the conversation. She looked almost bored. "The Cytherians are actually one of the easier empires to defend against," she explained. "They're predictable, aggressive, and they tend to underestimate their opponents. We've run thousands of simulations of exactly this situation." "Simulations?" "War games. We study every major galactic power and develop specific defensive strategies for each one. The Cytherian invasion scenario is a standard training exercise at our military academies." Captain Mordek felt sick. Earth had been planning for this invasion longer than the Cytherians had been planning to launch it. The battle, when it came, was nothing like what the aliens expected. The Cytherian fleet approached Earth's orbital space, confident in their overwhelming numerical superiority. Their sensors showed no defensive installations, no warning shots, no desperate calls for mercy. The planet seemed to be ignoring them completely. Admiral Velthok ordered his ships into standard bombardment formation. 300 vessels spread out to surround the helpless world. Victory was moments away. Then Earth revealed its true nature. The attack came from everywhere at once. Weapons platforms that had been invisible suddenly appeared throughout the solar system. Ships that had seemed like civilian transports dropped their disguises and opened fire with advanced military hardware. Hidden bases on asteroids and moons launched waves of missiles. But it was the coordination that truly terrified the watching aliens. Every human weapon fired at precisely the right moment to achieve maximum effectiveness. Every shot was perfectly aimed. Every tactical decision was executed flawlessly. The humans didn't just outnumber the Cytherian fleet, they outclassed it completely. "Impossible," Vexar breathed as he watched Cytherian warships explode under precisely targeted fire. "Where did all these weapons come from?" Admiral Ko's voice provided the answer. "Earth Defense Protocol 7, Proportional Response to Invasion Threat. The attacking force brought 300 ships, so we deployed 301 defensive platforms plus supporting elements. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. Not a single Cytherian ship escaped. Not one human vessel was lost." When the firing stopped, space around Earth was filled with debris and the scattered remains of what had been the pride of the Cytherian Empire. The most feared military force in the galaxy had been completely destroyed by a species that supposedly had no space-based weapons. Admiral Velthok's final transmission was a whispered question. "What are you?" The answer came from Admiral Ko, calm and professional. "We are humans. You chose to attack our home." In the aftermath, Captain Mordek found himself in communication with Dr. Yunha Kim once again. She was reviewing reports on a tablet, looking like someone completing routine paperwork. "Dr. Kim," he said carefully, "how long have you been preparing for this battle?" This specific scenario? About 30 years of detailed planning. But we've been preparing for the possibility of hostile alien contact since we first achieved spaceflight. The Catherian Empire will want revenge for this defeat. "What empire?" she asked mildly. "According to our intelligence, the Catherian Empire just lost its entire battle fleet and most of its senior military leadership. They'll be dealing with internal rebellions and economic collapse for decades." The aliens realized that Earth hadn't just defeated an invasion. They had eliminated an entire galactic power in less than 20 minutes. "Dr. Kim," Zixal asked, "what happens now?" "Now we send a message to the Galactic Council." She activated a recording device. "To the honorable members of the Galactic Council, Earth welcomes peaceful contact and trade with any species willing to approach us with honest intentions." She paused the recording and looked directly at Captain Mordek. "We know that various empires have been studying us for decades. We know about the reconnaissance missions, the intelligence gathering, the debates about whether to attack our world. We've been studying you in return." The recording resumed. "Attached to this message are detailed specifications of every ship in the recent Catherian invasion fleet, complete analyses of their weapons and defensive systems, and tactical assessments of their combat doctrine. We share this information to demonstrate our commitment to peaceful relations and our desire to avoid future misunderstandings." The message concluded with coordinates for formal diplomatic contact and an invitation for the Council to establish permanent relations with Earth. As the transmission ended, Dr. Kim smiled at the alien observers. "You're welcome to remain in our system as long as you wish, Captain. We find it useful to maintain good relations with the Council's representatives." Captain Mordek began composing his report to the Galactic Council. How could he explain what he had witnessed? How could he make them understand that Earth's apparent defenselessness was actually the most sophisticated military strategy in galactic history? His report would be brief and direct. Earth appears undefended because humanity has weaponized the galaxy's own assumptions. They have created the perfect trap, a seemingly easy target that reveals the true nature of any species willing to attack an apparently helpless world. Any empire considering hostile action against Earth should remember the fate of the Catherian invasion fleet. Humanity doesn't need to advertise its strength because it has something far more valuable: the patience to let enemies reveal themselves, the intelligence to prepare for specific threats, and the wisdom to appear weak while being incredibly strong. Within days of Captain Mordek's report, the Galactic Council quietly added Earth to their list of worlds that were never to be approached with hostile intent. Not because they feared humanity's weapons, but because they feared humanity's mind. Earth remained apparently undefended, peaceful, and welcoming to visitors. But now the galaxy knew the truth. The most dangerous predators are those that never need to show their claws. The small blue planet continued its quiet orbit around its yellow star, looking as harmless as ever. And throughout the galaxy, potential. Conquerors looked elsewhere for easier prey, leaving Earth exactly as humanity preferred it, safe, undisturbed, and free to grow stronger, while the rest of the galaxy remained unaware of just how powerful the defenseless world had become.